have seen over time companies come in here and doing even a report, I mean, which is quite commendable. That means they are already into it. And, you know, I have seen you also doing the capacity training that you have been talking about. Would you care to mention to our viewers an example or two of some of these corporates that are already embracing this so that at least our viewers can see this is real things in action?
Thank you. I started by saying that Kenya is a thought leader in matters sustainability.
Absolutely.
And actually reporting of ESG performance or sustainability reporting by listed or even non-listed companies started way before even the NSE put out the ESG guidance manual. We have listed companies like Safaricom that started their reporting 10 years back. And you know, it's been a learning process. And we also learned something even when we were putting up the manual for others. We have companies like East African Breweries that put out their ESG report in 2021 and also think in 2020, as well as Kakuzi, the latest entrant, in 2021 as well. So I think we are seeing traction. We're also seeing a lot of progress in that whole area.
Excellent. I think I've seen them live doing that. Let's talk about now matters to do with index, because I've had some good rumor about it and you will help us understand. So ESG reporting needs traction. Yes, definitely here in the country, as you've seen, we're on the move. Are there plans to have a sustainability index sort of at the NSE? Because, you know, at the NSE we talk about matters index. Is there something like that?
Actually, there is.
Wow.
As reporting becomes, you know, more frequent and also standardized, there are plans by the NSE to eventually have an ESG, or what we'll call a responsible investing index. So it's an index where, you know, the highest companies in rating on ESG matters are actually ranked. It's a way to differentiate, to allow those companies to differentiate themselves, to be seen, as well as to attract the, you know, the investor capital that they may be looking out for, targeted for impact investing. So there are plans in the near future as reporting becomes more frequent and standardized.
Great, we're looking forward to it. So now, you know, the World Bank estimates that the country's infrastructure funding gap is approximately about 1.8 billion USD. It also noted that the country needs to have an annual spend rate that requires an annual spend of about 4 billion USD, which is quite a huge gap when it comes to matters infrastructure, and the deficit is quite humongous. And one of the ways of funding this is purely through the bond market. And so when we're talking about ESGs, definitely the question would be, is there an opportunity to leverage on green bonds? And I'm saying this, and I know my viewers will be asking, what are those? I'd want you to start first from telling us, what are green bonds? And then now we can talk about leveraging on them.
All right. Just by simple explanation, green bonds are conventional bonds. The distinguishing aspect of a green bond are the green aspects of the bond, particularly in alignment to the green principles, particularly on the use of proceeds, the management of proceeds, and the reporting of the use of those proceeds. So green bonds proceeds are specifically only used in green projects. And there's a whole verification that goes into knowing what is green investments and all that. So the target for green bonds is environmental. It's in projects that have an environmental positive impact. So that's the only differentiation between a conventional bond and a green bond.
So then let's talk about now the opportunity to leverage on that. So corporates, should they open up their eyes to leverage on it?
There's a huge infrastructure financing gap in Kenya and in Africa in general. And as you've seen governments do, there's a lot of reliance on commercial bank lending and also the exchequer. So there's a lot of pressure on public funds. That means there is room for the private sector to come in through issuance of green bonds, or even the government as a sovereign itself to issue a green bond and attract institutional and retail investors who are keen to do good and actually to grow a green economy, while actually they give the money to the government to do its infrastructure, to fill its infrastructure funding gaps. So all I can say is that there's a room. The national government has made progress, which is very commendable. towards issuance of a sovereign green bond.
Wow.
We hope to see it in the near term. And I think what that will do for Kenya, it will actually put Kenya as a sustainability, the map of a sustainability hubs in Africa.
Wow.
An issuance of a sovereign green bond will actually put Kenya at the top of the map as a sustainability hub in Africa. Wow. So it's very welcome for the government to be doing this.
Wow, this is lovely, and we certainly hope to keep leading it from the front. You know, we have come to the end of this conversation, but I would want you to really endear corporates, businesses, and everybody else that it's time they started thinking, if they have not started, on matters ESG. So I'd like you to sort of give us a parting shot. What would you tell a room full of business leaders, people who are starting businesses, what would you tell them when it comes to them really jump-starting this conversation?
I think I want to say that sustainability is a journey. The reporting aspect of it is the tail end of that journey. This journey starts with a decision by the top level management of a company to actually want to do good, to have positive impacts in society and the environment they operate in, and to their people. Once that decision is made, how the company will perceive the whole agenda on sustainability will determine whether sustainability will be a competitive edge for it.
Wow.
So if the tone is well set, the strategies are put in place, the investors are out looking, and they will be happy to buy such kind of stocks, because such companies will be well-run companies, and well-run companies are good stocks to buy.
Wow, powerful. Thank you so much for that. And by the way, Loise, I know you write a lot about matters ESG and sustainability. Where can people find your articles and keep reading about this?
I write for the Business Daily as a passion. And I want to just do my part in pass the message on the why this is very critical at a time like this.
All right.
So I encourage people to read my articles on the Business Daily as and when I write, as well as check them out on my LinkedIn, which is Loise Wangui Musyoka.
Great. Thank you so much, and keep teaching us, keep teaching corporates to think matters ESG. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's Loise Wangui, Chief Officer, Regulatory Affairs, talking matters ESG and why we need to start thinking much about the environment, social and governance disclosures for corporates. If they're thinking about running beyond just their short timelines, they need to think matters ESG. Thank you so much for your time. This is The Trading Bell.